Yeah, good day to all. Now I request Dr. Roji ma'am to introduce the speaker. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. I'm Dr. Roji, Professor and Program Director, SNH. I take it as a pleasure to introduce our guest, Major Anurag Singh. He has 23 years of experience in corporate affairs, external relations, policy advocacy, and government relations. He has intensively worked in government relations, both center and state, industry outreach, and strategy. His engagement at CXO level ensured that he worked alongside leaders in framing and implementing the strategic direction. It involved timely inputs on policy changes and accounting for the same for the leaders to take important business decisions. He worked in sync with the business heads and the chairman of the company towards projecting a positive image of the organization to the external environment. He has obtained his certification from MDI, Certificate in Business Administration from MDI Gurgaon, and he also has a Bachelor of Law from Delhi University. He retired as a Major of the Indian Army and later joined the Territorial Army. He has served in important combat operations during his days in Indian Army prior to joining Avaiva India as Vice President, Strategic Alliance. He has held several important assignments, including Vice President, Government Business at Educom Solutions Limited, Vice President, Exchanging Technologies, National Head, Government Relations at iDiscovery Education Private Limited, and Head, Government Business, NIIT Limited. In April 1996, he was conferred the Duke of Edinburgh's International Award, the world's leading youth achievement award, for his contributions in India and dedication towards rural education. We are very happy to have you with us, sir. Though for an initial glitch, students, you are going to be really benefited by sir's talk. Over to you, sir.
At the outset, let me thank Rosie ma'am and Dr. Deepak and Savita Institute for Engineering for giving me this opportunity to talk to all of you and share some of the stories. I will not share the experiences. As we all grew up in our childhood, and whenever any story was told to us, at the end of the story, our grandfather, grandmother, or even father, mother used to ask, what exactly we have learned from the story, right? So in this leadership stories from army and corporate, I will take you through this journey of mine of last 20 plus years and will share with you, and maybe you pick up these experiences, you pick up these stories, you pick up these learnings and try to just visualize and analyze कि under these circumstances, this thing can happen to anybody at any time. So what my idea was when Rosie ma'am and Dr. Deepak and Savita Institute approached me, I was thrilled. In fact, I was excited that the young minds, the future of India, engineering students from a reputed institute, what exactly I would like to share. I gave a deep thought. And thinking through this process helped me. Why not take them through these stories, take them through these experiences, and explain them what exactly it's all about? If you say in general parlance, a dictionary word of leadership, especially in Indian context, amongst Indian people, anybody is presumed to be a leader if he is tall, well-built, can speak loudly, and they presume that he or she has got good trait to be a leader. Well, that's not the case. Physical build, having a loud and strong voice, these may be a sub parameters to a situation, but they are not the main stories. Leaders aspire, leaders show dream, leaders take you through the process, Leaders are part of the team. Leaders show vision. Leaders take you to the success path. And all of us at any point of time, maybe in a smaller role, bigger role, we all get a chance to become leaders. So with this small background, and I'm thankful to Rosie ma'am that she gave me a long introduction that I do not deserve one. But I'm a normal, common person like any one of you, maybe slightly elder to you in terms of age and some experience. So coming from a humble background from a place called Jabalpur, where we all grew up, and as all struggle stories state the kind of environment and ecosystem we lived in the past, the only thing which keeps the fire in the belly burning is to dream big. Keep dreaming big. These dreams make you big. If you don't dream, somebody else will dream for you and you have to work for it. So, this small place, Jabalpur, in a state called Madhya Pradesh, I grew up as all normal kids. Everybody has their own struggle stories. I also had one. But I was good in studies. Academically, I was bright. So I did my BSc honors, ICSC, ISC 12th. And during those days, when these CAT examinations were not started, for combined examinations for the premier management institutes, I was the first batch for this institute called IIM Indore. It was not IIM Indore that time. It was called IMS under Devi Ahilya University. So during my school days, or college days rather, I had this inclination to join army, so I joined NCC. And as some of you may be aware, that NCC also gives us a chance and exposure to cadets who would like to participate in Delhi's Republic Day Parade Camp. So, from in complete India, they have got 16 directorates looking after 29 states. I represented Madhya Pradesh, so I participated in a best cadet competition, which was amongst the units in Jabalpur, and I came first. Then the best cadet competition was held among the districts of districts of Madhya Pradesh, sorry. So out of 45 districts, again I came first. Now the competition was held in Delhi in 1995, December. So 16 directorates represented by 13 states, 29 states, and there again I came first and was awarded by then Prime Minister Narasimha Rao in the best grade competition. So in spite of joining this management course at Indore, I always had this urge to join army. Though I gave the exam for Combined Defense Services and was shortlisted for the Service Selection Board at IMA Dehradun, Indian Military Academy Dehradun. But I did not go for my SSB, which they call Service Selection Board, to select officers for the armed forces. I continued in the management school at Indore, taking the admission there. But I always had this urge that let me fulfill my dream. And that dream came true. I got a call again from the SSB, but this time the station was Bhopal. So I said it's a good chance for me to go from Jabalpur to Bhopal. It's hardly a distance of 300 plus kilometers. So I went there, and as expected, out of 74 students who had qualified for the interview, I was recommended by the board. I felt happy and got selected and joined army. Now the journey starts. During the training days, life is tough. So I was trained in your home state, as most of you are, at Officers Training Academy Gindi, which is in Chennai, near Tambaram Airport. I'm sure most of you would be aware of that. So I'll tell you a very important lesson. In spite of all the hardships you face throughout the day in the training and throughout the months you face, There are some things which army teaches you. The very important thing which was taught to us, that at 4:30 in the morning, the instructors, the NCOs, and the officers used to come to our barracks before we leave for PT, physical training classes, or the drill classes at 5:30. Each and every one of us was supposed to stand next to our bed, and the inspection used to be carried out by instructors and sergeants and havaldars as to whether my bed was properly done up or not. Now, most of you will be amazed that such a big institute, officers are being trained to lead men into war and peace situations, gazetted officers, commissioned officers from Indian Army. Why the hell Army is insisting that everybody's bed should be made up and inspected? If there were any fault in the way the beds were made, either the pillows were not at the proper place, or the bed sheet was not the proper place, or the blanket, we were made to do 2 hours of extra training at night. It was from 11 o'clock till 1 o'clock. Later on, after a week or 10 days, I realized why the lesson learnt was, a very important lesson I learned from this small task. Start your day. We all must start our day with a one small task which we have completed. That not only gives a sense of satisfaction that your day has started on a positive note, a sense of belonging, a sense of achievement, though the task may be small, just doing up your bed. But at least this positive start of your day will lead to many such a small tasks throughout the day. And at least, even if your day doesn't go well in most of the cases, some of the cases, at least once you come back from this outside world to the confines of your room, even if everything is disturbed, at least you will have a nice bed to sleep on. So the important first lesson which I learned was regarding doing small things. Now, these stories, I'll take you through this journey. These stories will help you understand what exactly. So, though I started with the second story that start the day with a small task, maybe most of you will be happy to know. Just apply this small principle in your life. Start the day with a small task. Now, I come to the first point. Again, a story, a short story. In academy, officers in academy, I'm mentioning about training. If you are a non-swimmer, if it means you can't swim, you are trained in a very different way. A rope is tied to your waist. You are supposed to go in the swimming pool at the deep end, and the instructor just tell you to swim, whether you know, whether you don't know. The only ray of hope you have as a cadet, that at least there's a rope and somebody is holding it. But in retrospect, if you think, this is just a mirage. Instructor throughout this practice never makes a small effort to even pull you up. Whenever you try to come up, he will further loosen the rope. So at least you go deep down in the swimming pool and drink as much swimming pool saline water in the Chennai heat as possible. Once I entered the swimming pool for the first time, I thought I will never be able to swim. Because if you don't learn swimming at the young age, at the later stage, it becomes difficult. But that ray of hope that somebody is holding me by the rope, even it was a virtually futile exercise because that guy was not helping me, within 3 days, that survival and the will to live and will to pass in spite of drinking at least 100 liters of water and more than that, saline water. Within 3 days, I started to swim. So the idea is, don't be afraid to fail in life. Don't be afraid to fail. You may think initially that these tasks and these situations and these circumstances are difficult. It's a difficult phase of life. But believe me, you just have to venture out. As they say, though it's a cliche, all well that ends well. Well begun is half done. These are not idioms just for the sake of it. They have been made and tried and tested over centuries and ages and years. So the very important aspect is you have to take a step yourself. First step has to be out. Now talking about respecting everyone. Again, a small story. How many of us within the college, other than knowing the subject professors, at least for that semester especially, or the dean or Rosie ma'am or Dr. Deepak, have you ever realized that there's a working staff also in your college? There are some people who are cleaning the floors. There are some people who are doing the gardening bit. There are some people who are in the office bit. There are some people who gives tea to everyone. I'm sure some of you may be knowing them, but I'm sure most of you would not be knowing their names. You may recognize them by the face, but I'm sure most of you would not. So idea is our values and the culture teaches us. Not only elders and not only teachers and professors, every walk of life, in our walk of life, whenever we meet people and who are around us and part of the ecosystem, please respect everyone. When I say respect everyone, it has a cultural background to it. In our Vedas and Upanishads and some of the other holy texts which wise people read and inform us what exactly they mean. In our culture, we are even taught to worship trees and animals. Culture, forest, trees, snakes. Why not human beings? Everybody has a task. Maybe few of us are privileged to get an education, or our parents were prosperous enough to send us to good institutes. But these guys who are part of your life around you, respect them, talk to them, be nice to them. That is story number 3. Take risks is self-explanatory. I'll tell you a small incident, though it may not be my story. During an important combat operation in the valley in Jammu Kashmir, a patrolling party, when I say patrolling party, the one who goes in a group of 12 to 15 people at night and ensures that villagers are safe, militants are not around. So I was in seniority number 2, I had my senior. And as a company 2IC or as a platoon 2IC, I was assigned a Jawan, a soldier, who was carrying my radio set. In army parlance, it's called buddy or a radio operator. In spite of taking all the precautions, our patrolling party was ambushed by militants at night. And I must tell you, when fire happens, you don't know where it's coming from. Army teaches you, even if you're afraid, even if you're fearful, don't show. Nobody will get to know. And as young leaders, as young lieutenants, as young captains, we were taught to lead from the front. So both the points, point number 3 and point number 4, respecting everyone and taking risks, are correlated. At around 2:30 in the night, I found that my radio operator was missing, and we had suffered heavy casualties with our 3 of our men being shot. At that time, we didn't know whether they'll survive or they will lose their life. Our senior, Major Saab, told us to fall back and take stock of things. When we all got together at a vantage point, slightly away from the firing area, I realized that in spite of these 3 soldiers getting hit and they were being evacuated, and we saw the injury wounds, I realized that my radio operator, my buddy, was missing. And when I say missing at night, it's a very, very difficult thing to comprehend what would have happened. I went there. I went to my senior and said, "Sir, give me a permission to find out where my buddy is or where my operator is." He says, "Are you going nuts? Are you gone nuts?" As it is, we are under tremendous pressure to lose these 3 guys, or maybe we may lose these 3 guys. And how the hell do I expect? Do you expect me to allow you to go and find out where this buddy is? I said, "No, sir." He said he will find out in the morning. I said, "No, sorry for not understanding the gravity of the situation, but I have to go." And believe me, gentlemen, in spite of reluctance, and in army parlance it's called disobedience, I went back to the place where firing took place, along with one more guy. And we had no idea as to what we were looking for. I was just looking for and I kept slightly whispering his name, "Baldev, Baldev, are you around? Baldev, are you around?" You can say fortunately and unfortunately, I could reach out to him. He was, I will not say pierced, at least around 18, 19 bullets have hit him. He was bleeding profusely from all sides. He was in deep pain, and lot of blood loss has taken place. His pulse was going down. He was breathing slowly. I took his hand. I put his head on my lap and said, "Baldev, can you open the eyes? Can you open the eyes? Please open the eyes." Those words which he said after he opened the eyes has changed my life. Has changed my life to the extent his words echo in my ears till now. You know what he said? He said, "Saab, I knew I'm going to die. But I also knew that you will come to look for me." In Hindi, he said, "आप जरूर आओगे, मुझे पता था." So the kind of trust, the kind of leadership, the kind of camaraderie you have with your men in armed forces. Leadership doesn't come with by wearing ranks on your shoulder. Leadership, you have to prove yourself every day that you care for them, you look for them, you respect them, you respect their families, you respect their children. These are things. Though that guy did not survive, but I still maintain relations with his family. I look after his children. But I always realize at the hindsight that taking that risk the other day, that particular day, was the best thing I did in my life. I knew I could be hit. I knew I could die. But that sense of accomplishment to be at the side of your dying brother in arms, was of course sad, but bit of satisfaction. Coming up to step up when times are toughest, I think again it's self-explanatory. When things go wrong, always remember, students, In your age, you are growing, you are stepping into a new world. Always have your morals, always have your character, always have your values, ethos, principles in check. I know with age, maturity comes, calmness comes, a person becomes composed. But I'll tell you, the more balanced you are, the more cool headed you are. I'll not say don't be a less materialistic person. Be materialistic, aspire big, but always follow the ethical path. Always remember, shortcuts may lead you to a temporary benefit in the shorter run, but taking your life step by step ahead in a gradual way is the way of life. Always remember parents, always remember teachers, always remember people around you that any of my step, any of the thing which I did, how much harm it will bring to my people around you. So when I say step up when things are toughest, don't give up. Just don't think time is tough. It's okay. Time will pass. But how did you react during these trying times? Whether it's exams, whether it's a semester, whether it's practicals, whether it's not doing good in papers, not doing it, it's all part of life. Until unless you fail, how will you relish and visualize the success? How will you enjoy it? So ups and downs are part of life. Now, as I mentioned to you, that find someone to help you through journey of life. Always look up to people who can be your mentors. Heroes, when we say hero, normally, especially in South India and North India, of course, South India especially, heroes are film stars, Rajnikants and Kamal Hassans and stars. Always look inside you and say, ki, what kind of hero I'm looking for? Whether that particular individual, he or she, has those human values. I'm trying to emulate a person, I'm trying to follow his journey, whether he's fit to be my hero. Sometimes you won't believe it, friends. In your journey of life, there are strangers, they are neighbors, they are teachers, unknown people. You will not realize how they have helped you in mentoring you, in making you grow. Always be thankful to them. If they are not around, look for them, search for them. You have to have a mentor in life to take you through this down. When, of course, I must tell you that when we did a short tenure in a place called Uttarakhand, we were told that this particular forest has been known to have a lot of leopards there. Leopards who bite people, bears, bears. And of course, those leopards were a discussion which used to happen in every newspaper that leopard hit him, leopard bite him, leopard killed him. But only instructor which told us, army instructor, you know what he told us? Even if a leopard approaches you, any one of you, just look into his eyes and don't try to run. Irrespective of whether you can run fast or fastest, he will still bite you or take care of you. Look into eyes, he will not come near you. Even if he comes, with all your energy, give him a solid punch on his face, he'll run away. We all thought these are just kind of stories being made up by instructors to boost up our morale. But that's not the case. I saw a live example where a young Jawan was accosted by this leopard and he did the same thing. He did not move. He looked into his eyes and leopard didn't come to him. So always in life, face down the bullies. Tell them, if you are stronger, I'm the strongest. Now coming to story number 8. How many times most of us have realized, and we have cursed our bad luck, bad timing, background, financial difficulties. And this one sentence always comes up in our discussion. Yeah, life is not fair. Life is not fair. I'll tell you something. Yes, life is not fair. Then what to do? Should we sit back and just say life is not fair? Will that be a solution? No, that's not the solution. Solution is move forward. Keep looking out for more opportunities. Through a balanced head, have an approach to find out what can be done. Have a logical bent of mind. Understand the situation and discuss. So, coming back to this life is not fair thing. A gentleman I'll tell you the corporate sector experience. I'll not tell you the company, especially. We were told to establish around 28,000 computer labs in a state called Bihar in the government schools. So I was supposed to provide them 20 computers and a computer teacher each school, an entire Bihar with 28,000 schools, government schools. I'll tell you, gentlemen, the problem which I faced. At least out of those 28,000 schools, around, I'm not exaggerating the figure, but around 7,000 schools reported that computers have been stolen from the schools by the thieves. And when they approached me and I approached the management of my company where I was working, they also took it easy and they said, fine, because those computers were insured. We just have to lodge a FIR, police complaint, and we'll get that money from the insurer. But at the hindsight, I just thought, knowing the Indian system, FIR will be lodged in these 9,000 schools. Police will give the report after 40 days that they could not locate the thieves for some reasons. Then the report will come to insurer. Insurer will again do a background check as to whether the report is right or wrong. In the bargain, those young students who are supposed to learn computers, where government is providing the money, they are being at a disadvantaged position. So it was a situation where management was okay with the thing that theft has taken place, nothing can be done. And police also did the fair thing that they could not find the thief. But what was the solution? We can always say that situation is always there in Bihar, what to do, let's move. No. So I took it upon myself. And ladies and gentlemen, you will be happy to know that I spent 45 days continuously visiting these villages and colleges. I used to visit 10 to 15 schools in a day. And through social media, through social help groups, through civic society members, through parents, through teachers, I started a social voluntary revolution in those 18 districts where people have come on ground and said, our children are getting affected by this thief. Please stop it. Please stop it. We want our children to be educated. We'll be happy to know out of those 9,000 schools, there were 400 schools where computers were placed back at night by the same unknown thieves, not because of the pressure. Police could have done the job, but because of the social stigma where children are getting affected and people are on roads to fight for their rights. And as an individual, I did not show leadership. I had a lot of empathy for these kids. Why are they supposed to suffer because of somebody else's bad deeds? And this became so successful that I was invited by the Honorable Chief Minister Nitish Kumar that time and being applauded for the thing. And I felt very happy, satisfied And can you believe it? Those computers are still running for the last 3 years, and till now, no theft has taken place. So never give up, gentlemen. Always look up to the downtrodden. So this was my some kind of experiences. Now I will request that in case if some of you may have some questions, I will be happy to share with you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your wonderful presentation. Those 10 points with 10 stories would have definitely influenced our students. And thank you very much for sharing your life experience. These experiences definitely help our students to build their career. So now question and answer session. So students, if you have any queries, please feel free to ask.
Yes, sir, I do have one.
Yeah, please.
Sir, my question is, the thing you told about never giving up in life and never to just stay down there, even when people pressurize you, even on. Now, there's a famous quote saying, "Know when to give up." Like when we know that the situation, no matter how, however we resolve it ethically or something like that, it can never be solved, and we know when to give up. So like, what's your view on that, sir?
Dr. Deepak, will you be able to tell me, because I'm unable to hear what?
Okay. Maybe you can repeat it. Like maybe can you repeat your question again?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, make it clear.
Sir, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Hello?
we can hear you well. Yeah, tell me again.
Okay. Now is it told different stories on how not to give up and how not to feel pressurized by people around you, and
Correct.
how to always come up from life. Now there's a quote saying, "Know when to give up."
Okay.
You should know when to give up whenever life puts you down. There are certain situations where no matter how ethically you may try to solve them, but they'll remain the same no matter what. No matter how the continuity of life unfolds, it will remain the same. So, Select sir, what's your say on that?
Yeah. We understand the question. Major sir, you got the question?
Yeah, I got the question.
Okay, sir, please.
Well, it has got two kind of approach to this particular question. If you say things are not changing, and there are sometimes situations which tell you to give up. So my idea is, again, I'll answer you with the quote only. If you have not achieved success till now, for some reasons, the time has come for you to introspect and find out the faults which lies in the way of execution. Okay, if in Hindi, if you call it, असफलता केवल ये दिखाती है कि सफलता का प्रयास पूरे मन से नहीं हुआ. So when you say you don't give up, what I mean to say, try with different means, different approach. Come what may, never give up. And even in some situations, if a tiger retreats back 5 steps for some reasons, if he sees an elephant or if he sees a bigger animal than him, if he retreats few steps, it doesn't mean he'll not attack. He will take his own time, own strategy to attack later. So that's my answer.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Any other student have any other question? Please open up. We may take one more question. Anybody else? Okay, if there is no question, once again, thank you very much, sir. It was our pleasure to host you, great honor to host you today. Thank you very much for your time, sir. And good day to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you
We'll
very
see some
much.
other time.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you.